Alright guys, today I'm going to teach you guys how to slim down a map folder. So blank map 4, once you're unpacked, it is 2.78 gigabytes. Oh, that's not right. That's levels. It's 1.12 gigabytes. My bad. I almost had a little heart attack there. So you want to open up your folder. First thing you want to get into is if you don't have a mini map, delete it. I know I don't think I did one for blank map 4, so I shouldn't have left it in there. That's my fault, but delete that. It's a little bit of size, but next thing, preview template. Once you use it, delete it. Don't keep that PSD in there. Don't touch the main file. Don't touch the ground models file, and don't touch the forest file. So just like that, with one technically folder left, we've only slimmed down 0.01 gigabytes. So then you open up the arts folder, and this is where you get into slimming it down a bunch. If you don't have water on your map, delete that. Let's go into the terrains folder. Next, this one will get a little bit tricky, but just listen close and you shouldn't screw anything up. So think about your map and think about what you have on it. You probably have grass and dirt and colored dirt, and you may have concrete. Now I'm going to say my map doesn't have concrete, but if you do, don't delete the concrete stuff. So my map, let's say it uses the Monster Jam dirt and the Monster Jam dirt, which is rocky dirt, black dirt, and blue dirt. So let's just say that's what I use. So all this other stuff, I don't need. So brown dirt to red dirt, I can delete. I don't need it. Rusty dirt, I also don't need. So then this 4K ground dirt is for the regular dirt. So when you're painting a track and it says dirt, then if you use that, don't delete this. But a lot of people like to use the Monster Jam dirt, which is rocky dirt. Delete these 4K textures if you did not use dirt. This, by itself, these 4 are almost 50 megabytes. Delete those 4. Also, if you didn't use mud, delete everything that has to do with mud. This folder accounts for a lot of space. So I'm not going to go through and look at everything, but alright, so my map, I said I did not use concrete. I didn't use sand, so I could do that beach. Asphalt and concrete are 2 separate things, so make sure whatever one you use to keep that one. But like I said, my map didn't use any of them, so delete it and just go one by one. Keep everything to do with grass, everything to do with dirt, because I'm not sure if they use this or not, so I keep it. It's not that much space when it's just a few files. So all this grass stuff I keep. Concrete on my map, I said I didn't have. Macro dirt I got to keep. Grass, rocky dirt, keep dirt or rocky dirt. Sand I don't use. White dirt I didn't use. Yellow dirt, red dirt. Rock I didn't use, so delete it. Sand, small island, don't need that. I don't know. This is grid map textures. Delete that. I might clean this up and release a new blank 4, but it's hard to delete this stuff because it really is needed for blank map. Asphalt, beach sand, concrete. My map doesn't have any of that. Rock, gravel, mud. I don't have mud. Rocks, and boom. And make sure you make your map first before you start deleting any of this stuff. I should say that before, but because you never might know if you actually might need something. Like if I needed concrete if I do this before I make my map, then need concrete, then I have to add it all back, and it's just more of a pain than it needs to be. So it's a bit of annoyance. So this map's to 24 megabytes. That's about as small as you can get it. Sounds, don't delete as anything with sounds. Skies, hopefully you have a sky with clouds. Save that. If you don't have clouds on your map, you can delete it, but if you don't have clouds on your map, you're doing something wrong. Shapes, another one with a big stuff. Background, I should have done this when I released blank map, but I messed up. So the only thing you really need is these 2 textures. So you can delete all these other textures, and that's almost 100 megabytes right there. Let me go real quick and check Mud Madness 3 because I want to say I did this with Mud Madness. Oh, I kept those all in. You might not need... I'll check. At the end of this video, I'll check. So, actually, I'll just check right now. Because I don't really know, and I don't want to mislead you guys by deleting that, and then the whole background's gone. So if we get back into it, though, don't delete anything with ground cover. You can maybe get away with deleting grass dry. And you can delete some of this stuff if you don't use it. Let's see the materials file and see what it says. Yeah, see, like grass dry, grass middle. I don't really know what Beam uses, so it's hard for me to delete any of this stuff. It's not that big, so. Non-crush cars are another big one. If you don't use any non-crush cars, delete this whole folder. If you do, then keep the ones you do use. So let's say I've used the Roamer, the Pessima, the step-up van, and the tanker for some reason. I don't know. Well, you keep those 4 and delete everything else because you don't need it. So, got those 4. The ramp pack, once you're done making your map, delete the ramp pack. Rocks, how blank map 4 comes with those rocks by the mud pit. If you don't use those, delete that. Track assets, another could be a big one. As we advise you to use the track assets, a lot of people don't, and you might not need all of them. If you don't need the turning pole, the triangle flags aren't really used on newer maps, delete those if you don't use it. Finish poles, delete them if you don't use them. BKT, same thing. Let's say this map I made uses all of these for pit party and such, so I'm going to keep them. And trees. Trees are another big one. So if you have trees on your map, in the tutorial I made, it was dragging DAEs to what trees you want. So let's say like World Finals was a big one. Say I only used oak trees. Say I used 2 types of oak trees, and I got them from the oak folder. Well, delete everything else. You don't need it. And you could keep it like this, or you can go into that oak folder. And let's say you use the oak bush A and B. So all this other stuff, you don't need. And make sure you test this though, once you delete this stuff, because you may need a texture or 2. And like I said, you could always check the materials files with the names and see what it does use. But most of the time, it doesn't really use any other assets. But it might. So if it does break something with the textures, this is why. Alright, and the next is the road folder, but I'm going to check blank map 4 real quick. Give you guys a final answer on that background. Because that's a lot of space that you might not need. Because in the materials files, it doesn't say it uses that. So let's go ahead and check. Oh, as you can see, a lot of things are no material as I'm deleting materials. So I deleted something with grass here. So that's not good. Or it might have been dirt. I don't really remember. But as you can see, the background still works. So I was right. All you need is the 2 files for background. And next is the road folder. So the road folder is going to be one of the bigger ones also. 450 megabytes just for the road folder. Say this is another Monster Jam track and I didn't use any asphalt decals. Okay, well, you can delete a bunch right off the bat right there. Same with road asphalt. Boom. Delete another big group right there. Then you get into skid marks and half pipes and all this other stuff that is mostly used for asphalt stuff. You can delete that. And you see Italy Road and double line, white line. All of this stuff right here is for parking lots. If you didn't use a parking lot, if you didn't make a parking lot, don't use it. Keep the chalk marking, you'll need that, so these 4. Derby Road, you'll most likely use with all of this stuff. There's just a lot of stuff you might not. You probably won't use dirt road variation, dirt tracks. You might not use any of that. But to see if you used it or not, it's pretty simple. So if you open up your materials file and have your map next to you, so if you just scroll down, let's say mud_tire tracks is what you used. Well, check what it's using for textures. So it uses these 3 textures, and just don't delete those. I know a lot of people use, what is it, road, I don't know what it's called, dirt road or something. Say our wear texture, whatever it's called, is road dirt top. Just don't delete these 3 textures for it. Say you used the chalk. Okay. Or line, I don't know. See the parking line, I deleted that, but let's say you use it. Don't delete this line_parking1. Just look at this name right here in the materials file, and whatever's its names that it uses, don't delete it. It's pretty simple. And like I said, you could leave the majority of it and just go with it, or you can really get into it and delete stuff you don't use. Let's say you're not going to use mud stuff, so you don't have any mud, so you can really delete a lot there too. But I'm gonna leave that because I don't have anything to base it off of. But I just skimmed 300 megabytes off the map just from the one folder. Lights, I'd keep this, wouldn't touch that. Forest, don't touch that. And decals are kind of the same way. You probably won't use any of these. Concrete damage, asphalt, this is trash and stuff like that. Again, check the main materials file. If you didn't use anything with the name asphalt road damage or asphalt damaged, again, different one. Or leaves fall, or decals fallen leaves, decals rocks. If you didn't use any of that, you can really just delete the whole folder. That's pretty much it for skimming a map up. So it was 1.112 gigabytes. Now it's 386 megabytes. And once I zip that, say I call it my map. So I zip this up. Let's say I go to upload it and release it, or release it to beta testers, whatever I might do. This file size should go down drastically. So 1.112 gigabytes all the way down to 219 megabytes for a releasable map. So that's skimming almost a whole gigabyte off a map, and that's just the way you got to do it. It takes a little bit of time. I did it rushed here, but I mean you can get it done in 20 minutes, and once you get used to all the stuff and knowing what decals use what, then you can really do it pretty quick and skim a bunch of file size off it. It's really those textures that are all the file size. Kind of like main mod. It's not all the bodies and stuff we use. It's the skins, the 4K skins, all that stuff. It's just a lot of space. If you guys have any questions, just let me know down below. But it's really something you got to figure out with like learning yourself, basically. Just learning how to read the materials files and what you use and what you didn't use. So what you can delete and what you can't delete. Like blank map, I deleted something obviously that I used for the ground. And then all the no materials obviously were all the parts, like the rocks and flags and stuff I deleted because we don't need them. But there you go. That's how to skim almost a gigabyte off your map. I know most people will not skim that much off because maps are going to be more detailed, but you understand the point here. Over a gigabyte down to 200 megabytes. So there you go.